Alright, let's talk about welding some. One of the reasons I've been doing these butt welds is to learn how, because at some point I want to work on that Ford. And I wanted to learn how to make a pretty weld. I went on YouTube the other day. This guy sent me a video, and this guy showed where he was welding in little bursts. He'd point his gun at something and he'd shoot it for half a second and stop, and then do it again and stop, and then he'd move around to a cool part of the metal and do it again. And that's what I've been doing here. And you can see that's a pretty good looking weld. It wouldn't take much grinding to smooth that right out. I didn't do probably a fabulous job of having my two pieces of metal line up perfectly for this, but if I had, with a nice clean weld like that, I could grind it down and make it disappear pretty easily. So that's pretty good. I did a big ugly weld here. Now I just burned a hole in something and I shot a bunch of weld in there trying to fix it, but then I figured out over here I had some holes, and I figured out if I wouldn't rush it, if I'd go slow, squirt a little wire in there, let it cool off, and then come back a little bit more and fill it in slowly, I wouldn't get a mess like that. So that's pretty cool. I'm learning this as I go, and it's obviously a much prettier weld than some of those first ones I did. So that's all a learning experience for me. I think I'm going to shoot some of this in real time just so you can see it and you can get an idea of what I'm doing as far as those little short bursts here. Basically just putting my welder right almost on the spot I want to weld and pulling the trigger. I'll try getting y'all at a different angle. I don't know if I can hold this and do it or not. Probably can. You see what I'm doing there? I'm just getting a little short burst of weld, and it looks almost like they're piling up on top of each other, which I think is a lot better than, I don't know how much you can tell of what's left of that, but that was me just pulling the trigger and trying to run with it. I did some more over here that's a little less ugly, but not a lot less ugly. But this is the least ugly of my welding so far. I'll do a little bit more up here. Well, I just ran out of gas. I knew it too. As soon as it happened, I knew all of a sudden my welds weren't working anymore. And I'm at 0 on both my gauges. So I think I'm just gonna pop that loose and head right into town and get me another bottle. And I can be back in an hour or so.